Hello and welcome to the Frans van Cat interview. I'm Annette Young. In the last 10 months, not one day has gone past without graphic and violent images emerging from Syria. The United Nations says at least 5,000 people have been killed since the regime clamped down on pro-democracy protests. But up until now, we haven't really heard anything from the country's minorities, in particular the Christian community. And today I'm joined by the Catholic Archbishop of Aleppo, Jean-Clément Jeanbart. Archbishop Jeanbart, thank you so much for joining us. First of all, the head of the Arab League, Nabil al-Arabi, has said that he fears that Syria is heading towards civil war. Is that something that you are also afraid of?
We are afraid of. Of course, I am afraid of. But I hope it will not happen. And I think that Syrian people is enough intelligent to come in this kind of confrontation, which would be a disaster.
But the Christian community, I think, numbers around 10% of the population.
That's right.
And you appear to be more afraid of the anti-government protesters than the government itself. I understand you've traditionally supported President Assad. Why is that the case?
We didn't support him traditionally, no. But in this situation, and since he came with reforms and with trying to develop the country and change the situation, we found that he will be for us a hope and a possibility of change. I do not mean that what the opposition is calling for and what the opposition is asking is not good. We agree that many things has to be changed, and the opposition has the right to ask and to make the changes. But I am afraid, I must say, that the opposition has no right to ask nations to kill our people in Syria, intervening, military intervention in Syria.
But surely, given the current situation and the violence that is going on, it is untenable. It cannot continue, can it?
Of course, it shouldn't continue even though you'd have one person killed, assassinated. It's inadmissible, unacceptable that people may die for political reasons or for theoretical exchange and divergences. But I must say at the same time that the picture is not objective, because the violence is concentrated in very small areas in Syria. As long as it doesn't expand, if it is not really something to develop, 95% of Syria is safe now. You go to Aleppo, 5 million people in the governorate of Aleppo. You have very little violence in Damascus, in Latakia, in Tartus, in Jazeera, Hasaka. But you don't have that, but in Homs and on the borders of Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan.
But isn't the problem that, you talk about Aleppo, and Aleppo, of course, we know there's a large Christian community in Aleppo, and certainly there are a number of minorities living in Damascus as well. Is that not the issue, though, that those minorities do support or have supported the regime and therefore are less unlikely to head into the streets and protest?
Yeah. We do not support the regime. We do not support the regime because we have suffered from the regime in many ways. We support the laicity, the laical option
secular.
of the pluralism, the non-denominational choices of the regime. That's what we want. We understand that the regime has to change. We have many criticism toward the regime, toward the party, but we don't want that an empty place come out and that fundamentalists or Qaeda or people who doesn't understand that the democracy is to live, everybody live freely with all rights, and we are afraid of that.
But the opposition group, the Syrian National Council, has said that it represents every Syrian. Do you believe them?
Why not? I would believe them. I hope that it may be really a truth. But what I'd say that come down, come in the country, we'll join you. We'll be together to ask many of what you are asking. Perhaps not all, but 90% of what you are asking, we want to ask. We don't want you to stay out. Come and enter in dialogue, and we'll find a way to be happy together.
If President Assad was removed from power, in your opinion, what would happen?
I am afraid it will be very hard and catastrophic. First of all, because it is our hope, ourselves who are criticizing the regime, ourselves who want change in the country, who want democracy, the departure of Bashar Assad may hurt and may impede this movement of renewal. I am afraid that if he goes, everything will be crumbling or a civil war will come.
And would it be the case that you would have in Syria what we've seen in Iraq, where many of the Christians there have fled the country?
Of course, if the change comes brutally and with blood, the Christians, a big number of the Christians will go, and it will be a very, very, very big sorrow.
In your estimation, Archbishop, how much support does President Assad still have within Syria? How many people still support the regime?
I would say 70%.
70%. That,
yes.
I mean, from what we're hearing is that figure is nowhere close to 70%.
No, what I have said in Figaro was the people who were certainly with him, but with these people, there are a very large number of Sunnite or the others who are also supporting him. When we talk about this proportion, we cannot say that Alawite or Druze or Christian. No, because the Sunnite also are with him, many of them. All the tribes and clans, they are supporting Bashar Assad, and they are all Sunnite.
Do you think President Assad is capable of reform? For instance, he's promising a new constitution in March. Do you think he can do it?
I think so. And I am expecting him, in the appointment he gave in March, that the new constitution will be put under census.
But what we've seen so far, every time he's offered to bring about change, that change has not happened. That reform never occurred.
Yes, the most important is that the constitution and the laws may come, and the change will come after. If there are no laws and the constitution has not elements, the reform will never come. And don't forget that the regime, the Ba'ath Party, the system is on since 50 years now, almost. It is not easy to change it in like a magician or like in one word it will take a little time. But what is important is that may know that things will come like that because the constitution is that way and the law are like that.
If, however, he does not implement reform, the violence continues, would you then support the idea of international intervention?
International intervention, I am afraid it will make a big damage in the country. But I will not support Bashar Assad in that case. I will be in the opposition, out or in, but not till calling all, foreign intervention. I am already in opposition with the regime. I am already refusing many things, but I give my faith and my trust to Bashar Assad, and I am expecting the appointment he gave us. If it will be all right, I'll say I remain supporting him. He is a good person. He is a good person.
You say he's a good person, but
yes,
of course...
I know. And
But what we see is very different.
Yes, what you see, you must see how things happen. It is not, all the guilts are not him. He is not the only one who is guilty in all what happens. Everybody is guilty. Himself, the opposition, everybody. The foreign nations, foreign states, everybody is guilty. But himself, I consider that this person is a person who is a right person, who is also a person who wants to give to his people. It's my opinion. It doesn't mean that I'll remain with him if he doesn't give what he have promised, but till March, I will be with him.
Archbishop Jean-Bart, I'm afraid that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for being with us today. And that's it for this edition of the France 24 interview. Stay tuned for more news and headlines, which are coming up very shortly.